You see her, don't you? The shimmering mirage in the desert of your deepest desires. She walks, she speaks, she embodies every idealized notion you've ever held, every whisper of perfection that society, media, and perhaps your own unmet needs have etched into your consciousness. You gaze upon this vision and feel a profound sense of recognition, a pull, as if she is the missing piece, the ultimate completion of your incomplete self. But what if that perfection isn't real? What if it's a cleverly constructed phantom, an elaborate illusion designed not to fulfill you, but to lead you astray, to keep you chasing a ghost, while real opportunities for growth and genuine connection pass you by? Centuries ago, in the bustling marketplaces of Athens, there lived a man who valued truth above all else. A philosopher whose genius lay not in providing answers, but in crafting questions so profound they would dismantle every false certainty. His name was Socrates. He wrote nothing down. He founded no formal school, yet his influence echoes through history. And while he spoke endlessly about justice, virtue, and knowledge, his silence on the matter of the perfect anything, especially the perfect woman, screams volumes. It's a silent, thundering warning we, in our modern quest for idealized romance, have been too deafened by fantasy to hear. This warning isn't written in ancient texts. It's embedded in the very fabric of his philosophy. Socrates understood the dangerous nature of unexamined assumptions. He knew that the uncritical acceptance of popular beliefs, especially those that promise effortless happiness or ultimate fulfillment through external means, is the surest path to self-deception and misery. And what is the perfect woman but the ultimate unexamined assumption, the most seductive of external promises? Society, from the earliest fairy tales to the latest romantic comedies, inundates you with the narrative. She's out there, they whisper. The one, the singular individual who will complete you, understand you without words, fulfill every unspoken longing, banish all your insecurities. This is the grand illusion, spun from threads of aspiration and insecurity, a masterpiece of misdirection. You are told she is beautiful without effort, intelligent without challenge, supportive without question, passionate without drama. She is the calm in your storm, the muse for your ambition, the unwavering rock in your turbulent existence. She is, in essence, a projection of all you believe you lack and all you secretly crave. But stop. Take a breath. Apply the Socratic lens to this vision. What is perfect? What qualities truly define this elusive ideal? Is it merely a collection of superficial traits, a certain aesthetic, a specific demeanor, a curated set of interests? Or is it something deeper, something that speaks to your soul? And if so, how do you recognize it? Through gut feeling, through immediate attraction? Socrates would meet such vague assertions with a withering cross-examination. He would press, he would prod, he would demand definitions until the amorphous cloud of perfection dissolved into the individual components of your own desires and, more critically, your own unmet needs. Socrates championed relentless self-examination. Know thyself. This wasn't merely a quaint philosophical adage. It was the bedrock of his entire worldview. He believed that genuine wisdom began with an understanding of one's own ignorance, one's own biases, one's own limitations. But how can you truly know yourself when your gaze is fixed outward, perpetually searching for someone else to define your worth, to complete your narrative, to fill your emptiness? You can't. When your primary focus is on discovering a pre-packaged ideal, you become a pursuer of shadows, neglecting the arduous but essential work of building substance within your own soul. You become a man who delegates his own fulfillment to an external source, a dangerous act of self-betrayal that Socrates would have recognized instantly. The Socratic method, his famed technique of dialectic, was a crucible for truth. He would engage his interlocutors in a conversation, asking a series of probing questions designed to expose contradictions in their beliefs, to dismantle false assumptions, and to lead them through their own reasoning to a deeper understanding. Imagine him applying this method to the modern man's quest for the perfect woman. He wouldn't accept your initial declarations. If you claimed to seek someone smart, he'd ask, "And what is intelligence precisely? Is it academic achievement, cunning, wisdom, or merely the ability to flatter your ego?" If you desired someone supportive, he'd press, "Supportive of what? Your comfort, your growth, your flaws? And what, precisely, do you offer in return?" If you sought someone beautiful, he'd inquire, "Is beauty a quality inherent in her, or a subjective experience within your own mind? And if it fades, as all external forms do, what then remains?" This relentless questioning would strip away the vague, romanticized notions, exposing the raw, often uncomfortable truth of what you actually seek, and, more importantly, why you seek it. You would be forced to confront your own insecurities, your own fears of loneliness, your own unspoken expectations. This is the essence of Socrates' silent warning. The illusion of the perfect woman is so potent precisely because it allows you to avoid confronting your own imperfections and your own responsibility for your happiness. It's easier to dream of a savior than to become your own. Socrates wasn't interested in making you feel good. He wasn't a motivational speaker. He was a philosophical surgeon, cutting away delusion to reveal truth. His tone was direct, often unsettling, always aimed at stripping away comforting lies. His silent warning about the perfect woman carries the same sharp, unsentimental edge. It implies, unequivocally, that the immense energy you spend chasing this phantom is energy tragically diverted from the crucial work of inner development, intellectual honesty, and the cultivation of genuine, reciprocal connection. The pacing of his dialogues was deliberate, a slow burn of inquiry that meticulously dismantled false assumptions, brick by brick. His silent warning operates similarly. It's not a sudden revelation, but a gradual realization that dawns as you witness the endless cycle of men and women chasing idealized versions, only to be met with repeated disappointment, resentment, and ultimately, disillusionment. The relentless pursuit without profound introspection is a treadmill to nowhere, an exhausting journey that leaves you precisely where you started, only more tired and embittered. Socrates employed various techniques to expose flawed thinking. His silent stance against the perfect woman utilizes a powerful one: implied critique. By not engaging with the fantasy, by focusing instead on the arduous but rewarding path of self-knowledge, virtue, and wisdom, he implicitly critiques the superficiality, the escapism, and the ultimate futility of chasing an external ideal. It's a juxtaposition of monumental proportions, the shallow, externally driven pursuit of a romanticized ideal versus the profound, internally driven journey of philosophical growth. Which path, he asks, through his silent example, is truly worthy of a thoughtful human being? Think of the myriad rhetorical questions his silence provokes in the reflective mind. Isn't the very pursuit of perfection an admission of your own perceived inadequacy, a desperate hope that another can fill the void you refuse to examine within yourself? Doesn't it place an impossible, crushing burden on another human being, forcing them into a role they can never sustain? And isn't true, lasting connection found not in the sterile realm of flawlessness, but in the acceptance and understanding of shared imperfections, in the mutual struggle towards growth? His life was a profound analogy for prioritizing inner truth over external validation. He faced condemnation, mockery, and ultimately death rather than compromise his intellectual and moral principles. This unwavering commitment to authenticity, to what is real and true within oneself, stands in stark contrast to the fleeting and often superficial connections built on the quicksand of idealized images and unrealistic expectations. The repetition of the societal narrative about the perfect woman in every song, every movie, every social media post only serves to amplify the quiet, powerful wisdom of Socrates' non-engagement. The louder the world screams about finding the one who will fix everything, the more his quiet dissent resonates with the uncomfortable but liberating truth of individual responsibility and authentic connection. His warning is laced with evocative implication. The perfect woman becomes a modern-day siren song, luring you onto the sharp, unforgiving rocks of unrealistic expectations, profound disappointment, and ultimate self-neglect. His silence underscores the inherent, insidious danger in valuing an idealized, unachievable image over the messy, complex, profoundly human reality of genuine interaction and reciprocal growth. And what are the consequences of ignoring this silent warning? They are not abstract philosophical concepts, they are the shattered realities of countless lives. First, there is the inevitable disappointment and betrayal. When the idealized image you've projected onto another inevitably clashes with their complex, flawed, human reality, the illusion shatters. You feel betrayed, not by her, but by the fantasy you clung to. The woman you idealized becomes, in your eyes, a disappointment, not because she is inherently flawed, but because she failed to be the impossible construct you demanded. You blame her for not living up to a script she never agreed to, a role she didn't even know she was cast for. Second, there is the loss of self. When you are perpetually searching for an external source of perfection, you cease to cultivate your own. You become a man who molds himself to fit the perceived desires of this ideal, rather than standing firm in your own truth. Your authenticity erodes. Your boundaries become porous. Your own personal growth stagnates because you're waiting for someone else to make you complete, to validate your existence. Socrates would see this as the ultimate tragedy, to live an unexamined life, driven by external illusions, leading to a profound inner emptiness. You become a hollow reflection rather than a solid individual. Third, the pursuit of this illusion perpetuates dysfunctional relationships. The foundation of your connection becomes rooted in fantasy rather than reality. This often leads to codependency, where each party subtly or overtly demands the other fulfill roles they cannot or should not. It can foster control as you try to force the real person into the shape of your ideal. It breeds resentment as the unfulfilled expectations fester. You become blind to genuine incompatibilities, dismissing red flags because they don't fit the narrative of your perfect match. The relationship isn't a partnership, it's a performance where neither actor truly knows their lines because the director, your internalized fantasy, keeps changing the script. Finally, and perhaps most critically, this illusion leads to blindness to reality. While you are diligently pursuing the ghost of perfection, you remain utterly blind to the real, flawed, imperfect, but potentially wonderful people who exist around you. You dismiss genuine connections because they don't sparkle with the artificial sheen of your fantasy. You overlook authentic kindness, unwavering loyalty, and shared values because they lack the dramatic intensity of an idealized romance. You filter reality through the narrow, distorting lens of your unattainable ideal, ensuring that no real human being can ever measure up. Socrates would call this the ultimate folly, to sacrifice the possible for the impossible, to chase the shadow while turning your back on the substance. So, how does one apply Socrates' profound, albeit silent wisdom to the modern quest for partnership? It's not about providing a checklist for Socrates' despised rigid dogma. Instead, it's about cultivating a mindset, a philosophical approach to connection. It begins with rigorous self-knowledge. Before you can truly know another, you must grapple with your own core. What are your values, truly? Not the ones you profess, but the ones you live by. What are your fears? What are your insecurities? What are your own projections? When you understand your own internal landscape, you become far less susceptible to projecting your unfulfilled needs onto another. You stop seeking a savior and start seeking a partner. This requires courage, a brutal honesty with oneself that many shy away from, but it is the first, indispensable step. Next, it demands critical observation and questioning. Don't be swayed by superficial charm, initial chemistry, or the societal pressure to find the one. Instead, observe patterns. How does she react under pressure? How does she treat those from whom she gains nothing? What are her true values, revealed not in her words, but in her actions? Socrates didn't take statements at face value. He demanded evidence, consistency, and alignment between words and deeds. Apply that same rigor. Question your own assumptions about her. Ask yourself, is this truly her, or is this the version I want to see? This isn't cynicism, it's wisdom. Prioritize character and wisdom over fleeting pleasure or superficial attraction. Socrates believed that virtue was knowledge, and that a life lived in pursuit of wisdom was the most fulfilling. This extends to relationships. Seek a partner who values growth, who is committed to truth, who possesses inner fortitude, rather than someone who merely entertains or validates. A shared commitment to ongoing intellectual and moral development will forge a bond far stronger than any fleeting romantic ideal. Embrace the courage to be alone. Socrates famously stated that the unexamined life is not worth living. By extension, a life spent desperately seeking external validation for your worth is not truly lived. If you are terrified of solitude, you will inevitably compromise your standards, lower your expectations, and settle for the illusion rather than waiting for authentic alignment. The ability to stand alone, content in your own company, and committed to your own journey, is the ultimate shield against the allure of false perfection. It is the ultimate expression of self-possession, a quality deeply respected by Socrates. And what happens when you heed this silent warning? The paradox is profound. When you stop chasing the illusion of the perfect woman, you become far more capable of forming genuinely deep, meaningful connections with real women. You stop seeing them as objects to fulfill your fantasy and start seeing them as complex, multifaceted individuals with their own strengths, flaws, and journeys. You stop projecting your needs onto them and start engaging with them as sovereign beings. You will find that the woman who is truly aligned with you isn't the one who fits a predefined checklist of perfection. She's the one who inspires you to be more authentic, who challenges your assumptions, who walks beside you on the path of self-discovery and accepts you, flaws and all, because you have accepted yourself. She doesn't complete you. She complements you. She doesn't fix you. She participates in your growth. She doesn't fulfill your fantasy. She joins you in building a shared reality. This truth, this Socratic truth, isn't glamorous. It won't sell movie tickets. It won't fill self-help seminars with promises of instant romance. It's hard. It demands introspection, patience, and the willingness to dismantle your most cherished romantic notions. It asks you to look inward when every external force compels you to look outward. But make no mistake, the stakes are existential. To ignore Socrates' silent warning is to condemn yourself to a life of perpetual chasing, endless disappointment, and a nagging sense of emptiness that no amount of external validation can ever truly fill. You will always be seeking, always striving, always just out of reach of an impossible ideal. Your life will become a performance, a relentless striving to fit into a narrative that is not your own, leaving you exhausted and unfulfilled. So the next time you find yourself captivated by the shimmering image of the perfect woman, remember Socrates' silent, echoing warning. Turn inward, question the illusion, dissect the fantasy. Seek truth not in a flawless other, but in the complex and ever-evolving landscape of yourself. For in that arduous but liberating journey of self-discovery lies the only genuine foundation for meaningful connection. A connection built not on the fragile fantasy of perfection, but on the solid, unshakable ground of authentic self-knowledge and mutual respect. Do not scroll away from this uncomfortable truth. Do not allow it to be just another fleeting piece of information. Like this reflection, let it resonate. Share it with others who might be lost in the vast, glittering mirage of idealized romance. Subscribe for more perspectives that dare to challenge the conventional, that seek to strip away illusion and reveal the unvarnished truth. Your engagement isn't just a click. It's an act of defiance against the superficial, a step towards a more truthful understanding of ourselves and our relationships. Let us heed the silent warnings of the past to navigate the seductive illusions of the present, one thoughtful, uncomfortable, and ultimately liberating reflection at a time. The choice is yours. Chase the ghost or confront the truth. Socrates' silence awaits your answer.